Meghan Markle crying. But it wasn't a real cry. This is one tear, left eye, go.
They call them tragedy ghouls. And tonight, we're breaking down why Meghan Markle, and yes, Harry too, are at the center of a storm nobody saw coming. Fake tears, staged moments, and a public image carefully curated down to the smallest detail. But when your every move is broadcast to the world, how do you separate truth from performance? Tonight, we're diving deep into the events, the gestures, and the choices that have the Sussexes trending for all the wrong reasons. And trust me, you're going to want to see this. Let's rewind to that infamous moment. Meghan Markle, standing at a memorial, tears welling in her eyes. At first glance, it's heartbreaking. You see the shimmer on her cheek, the slight quiver in her lip, the way she pauses, as if the world itself is holding its breath. But the closer you look, the more the illusion begins to crack. The camera shifts ever so slightly, and she stops. Just like that. The tear disappears the moment the lens is no longer trained on her. For many, the first reaction is shock, even outrage. But for those who follow the patterns, the picture becomes far less innocent. Observers noticed a subtle, almost mechanical rhythm. One tear, left eye, perfectly timed. A single droplet designed to catch the light, framed for maximum emotional effect. Not a spontaneous moment of grief, but a performance. And the context? Absolutely grim. This wasn't a gala or a red carpet. It was a memorial for a close friend who had just lost her 9-year-old son. A tragedy so raw, so devastating, that most would approach it quietly, with reverence. Yet here, the tragedy became a backdrop, a stage for a calculated display, broadcast across cameras and smartphones alike. Social media erupted instantly. Twitter lit up with incredulity. TikTok stitched together every split second, analyzing every glance, every pause. Instagram comment sections overflowed with disbelief. Did she really just do that? Why is this even happening? The clips spread like wildfire, each share adding to a narrative of performative grief, and the world watched, captivated and horrified. Insiders suggest it's about far more than tears. It's about control. Every gesture, every tilt of the head, every micro-expression, choreographed with precision. Every angle calculated, every frame designed to send a message without a word being spoken. In this moment, the boundary between authentic emotion and public performance dissolves entirely. A private grief becomes a media spectacle, the most intimate sorrow turned into content for millions.
Utterly vile to be stood there fake crying with a photographer at your feet to capture the moment. He's not taking pictures of other people at the memorial. He's got his lens solely on Meghan. All she does is perform. They are both gross, every camera click. And by the way, just a reminder, if you think I'm being unfair, before she was in the royal family, Meghan did used to boast about how easy it was for her to cry on demand.
Some might defend it, saying, she's just a public figure navigating grief. But the pattern here is undeniable. Meghan has, in past interviews and anecdotes, openly boasted about her ability to cry on command. One tear, left eye, go, she said casually in a moment that was later documented. And now, on the world stage, the same technique plays out again, performed for cameras, captured for social media, consumed by millions who are left to wonder, is this real, or just another scene in a carefully scripted narrative? And therein lies the discomfort. Because when your personal tragedy, or the tragedy of someone close to you, becomes a prop in a media moment, we're forced to ask the question, where does empathy end and performance begin? The optics are chilling, the effect undeniable. What might have been a private, human response to loss instead becomes a meticulously framed image, analyzed, shared, and debated endlessly. It's not just the tears themselves, it's the story they tell. A story of control, of image, and of the lengths some will go to shape perception. For millions watching, it's mesmerizing and disturbing all at once. And for Meghan, the narrative is simple. The world sees the image she wants them to see, and nothing more. And then there's the dynamic duo, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. On the surface, public appearances tell one story. Hugs, smiles, hand-in-hand moments. But the subtler signals suggest something entirely different. Look closer, and the illusion begins to crack. Take one widely circulated image. Harry wrapping his arms around a 12-year-old girl, captioned innocently as our other favorite Lily. The photo, meant to radiate warmth and empathy, quickly went viral. But there's an almost eerie absence alongside it. Archie and Lilibet, the Sussexes' own children, remain invisible, conspicuously absent from the frame. Locked away from the spectacle, hidden behind closed doors, their omission does not go unnoticed. Royal watchers, the seasoned observers who pass every tilt of a head and shift of a shoulder, see the pattern immediately. Harry and Meghan's body language frequently contradicts the narrative they're trying to sell. Arms pressed but tense, distance maintained under a veil of performative affection, smiles carefully measured as if calibrated for the camera. Every interaction is analyzed frame by frame. On Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and social media reacts instantly, the court of public opinion dissecting each micro-expression like forensic evidence. Insider commentary frames these appearances as an attempt to reshape the narrative. We're happy. We're united. We're compassionate. A carefully crafted PR script, designed to communicate unity and warmth, even in the face of mounting scrutiny. But the subtle cues, the eye contact that falters, the tension in their posture, the brief hesitations between gestures, tell a very different story. A story of strain, pressure, and priorities that seem misaligned. And it's not just the photos. The optics extend to captions, social media posts, and staged appearances. Each public display is another layer in a carefully curated persona, one that seeks to broadcast intimacy while simultaneously concealing private realities. The juxtaposition is striking. The image of a happy, connected couple contrasted with the reality that their own children are conspicuously absent, sidelined from the narrative, as though the camera's gaze dictates who exists and who doesn't. For observers, the overarching question lingers. Is this intimacy genuine, or is it just another performance in the ever-expanding Sussex playbook? Is Harry's embrace of a young friend a spontaneous moment of compassion, or a calculated gesture to convey connection while sidestepping more uncomfortable truths? The tension is palpable. Every photo, every post, every carefully staged appearance adds another piece to a puzzle that feels increasingly orchestrated.
One tear, left eye, go, give me 3 seconds. Well, that's exactly what she did at the weekend.
Meghan, 1 tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
And for the millions watching worldwide, the effect is uncanny. Moments meant to inspire empathy instead raise questions, and moments meant to show unity often highlight the fractures beneath. It's this duality, the public face versus the private signal, that defines the Sussex narrative. And in dissecting these moments, we begin to see a pattern emerging. One where image and reality rarely align, where every gesture is filtered, and where the line between genuine affection and strategic performance becomes increasingly impossible to discern. Critics argue that Meghan's recent media appearances reveal something deeper, a lack of coherent strategy. From Paris fashion shows to Washington dinners, the message is inconsistent. One moment, she's a fashion icon, the next, a business founder, the next, a domestic figure posting videos of family life. Every media move seems to serve one goal: visibility. Not necessarily an accomplishment. It's what some insiders call flooding the zone. When nothing else works, just keep showing up, hoping the public forgets the missteps. The problem? Without a clear brand, without a product to promote or a consistent narrative, it comes off as chaotic, thoughtless, and sometimes desperate. Even high-profile magazine covers, deals with Harper's Bazaar, and appearances at Fortune's most powerful women events are criticized as superficial, lacking substance. Every move is scrutinized, dissected, and often ridiculed. And the public sees this. They see the pattern. They see directionless messaging. They see the disconnect between words and action. Then there's the inner circle. Daniel Martin, Meghan's longtime makeup artist, became an unlikely cautionary tale. A behind-the-scenes Instagram reel, meant to be harmless, was ordered deleted immediately. The reason? Meghan spotted it, deemed it a breach of trust, and demanded it vanish. It's a glimpse into how meticulously curated her image is. Everything is controlled. Every move is calculated. And anyone within her orbit is expected to follow the rules, or risk being cast aside. But it doesn't stop there. Meghan's friendships, especially within Hollywood circles, often operate like a transactional network. Mutual benefits, strategic alliances, public appearances. Authenticity? Sometimes lost in the shuffle. Observers note, the Sussexes' world has shrunk. Harry's circle is now defined almost entirely by Meghan's connections. The result? A highly curated, highly controlled ecosystem designed to project power, influence, and relevance, while shielding any vulnerability. Perhaps the most fascinating and controversial. aspect of Meghan Markle's public persona is the persistent divide between what she says and what she actually does. On the surface, her messaging is relatable. A modern mother, grounded, mindful, and attuned to the everyday joys of domestic life. Yet the evidence captured in countless images and videos often tells a very different story. Take, for instance, birthday celebrations for Archie. Videos and photos show the young boy adorned in $4,000 designer outfits, a scene meticulously styled down to the last detail. Meanwhile, Meghan's own words emphasize casual, barefoot domesticity, a vision of motherhood stripped of artifice. The dissonance is jarring. The public is invited to witness an image of simplicity, yet the reality is one of extreme luxury, curated for the lens. Each polished post, each Instagram-ready moment, feels almost theatrical in its execution, leaving observers wondering, where does the narrative end and the performance begin? This pattern extends far beyond family life and into professional endeavors. Public statements, high-profile magazine covers, and polished appearances all suggest influence, progress, and tangible achievement. Yet insiders reveal a different story. Many of these initiatives are reportedly underdeveloped, mismanaged, or incomplete. Visibility has, in many cases, replaced substance. The projects exist more as signals than solutions, more as evidence of presence than proof of impact. And this is not mere gossip. It's a window into the meticulous architecture of image management. Every gesture, every carefully timed caption, every media appearance is a calculated move in a grander narrative. The Sussexes team, and Meghan herself, understands the power of optics. How the world perceives action often matters more than the action itself. Social media amplifies the effect, dissecting each image, hashtag and quote. In this ecosystem, perception can become reality, shaping public opinion even when the underlying truth is more complex. What emerges is a persona that is constantly curated, frequently questioned, and perpetually evolving. The dissonance between word and deed creates intrigue and controversy. It invites scrutiny and speculation, compelling millions to watch closely, analyze relentlessly, and debate endlessly. In a world dominated by optics, Meghan's ability to control narrative, even partially, becomes her most potent and polarizing tool. And then there's Harry. His trajectory has shifted drastically since leaving the royal fold. Observers note that his decisions are increasingly influenced by Meghan's priorities. Family dynamics, business ventures, public appearances, all filtered through a singular lens. The consequence? Some insiders warn of long-term regrets. Relationships with his father, grandparents, and even the public are being navigated not by choice, but by circumstance. Harry's loyalty is clear, but critics argue it comes at the expense of his own autonomy. Every step is assured against public perception, every move a potential headline. And while the intention may be love and protection, the optics often tell a more complicated story. The public sees a man devoted, protective, and caught between duty and personal loyalty. The question remains, is the price of devotion worth the personal cost? Looking ahead, the Sussexes face a critical crossroads. Media scrutiny shows no sign of slowing. Public perception is a double-edged sword. One misstep, one miscalculation, and the narrative shifts. Experts suggest a hard reset is necessary. A pause to reassess messaging, brand identity, and public engagement. Without it, each new appearance, each new statement risks compounding mistakes. The lesson? Influence without strategy is fleeting. Visibility without substance is fragile. And in the public eye, perception is everything. The Sussexes' journey is far from over. But whether it's tragedy ghouls, curated image, or strategic missteps, the story is a cautionary tale in the age of 24-hour news cycles, social media scrutiny, and public obsession. So, what can we take away? Authenticity is rare. Control is everything. And in the case of Meghan Markle and Harry, every move is under a microscope, every tear, every gesture, every photo. It's a world where tragedy can become spectacle, where friendships are strategic, and where the line between performance and reality is almost impossible to see. The Sussexes are navigating this world in real time, sometimes gracefully, sometimes not. And while the public may judge, one thing is clear: the story is far from finished. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more inside looks into the world of the royals, celebrity culture, and the stories the media won't always tell. This is the Tattler, bringing you the story behind the headlines.